farting with eye contact. Thesaurus? Thesauruses?
Thesaurus?
Yeah.
What?
This is a thesaurus?
That's a thesaurus?
This is? It. Thesaurus?
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you guys there. I'm sorry, I'm so embarrassed. All right, welcome to episode 50. It's been a while. I haven't made an episode since before the season started. I just got lazy with. I have other things going on, man. For those of you new to the page, it's just a hobby for me. I just have fun with it. It's not a job. So I do what I can when I can. I appreciate those of you that follow. Don't forget hitting like buttons or commenting or share buttons. It helps a lot. It helps get my page out there. It helps with the algorithms. So if you're watching this on Facebook, I'm also on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, X, Twitter, whatever it's called, YouTube. Go search South Texas Bloodsport on all the different platforms and help me grow. I was at 999 followers on Instagram the other day. I don't know if I'm at 1,000 yet. I don't think so. I don't know how to grow Instagram, man. Facebook's a lot easier. People just hit share buttons and something can go viral. And I don't know how Instagram works. So help me out with that. But thanks for tuning in. Do not adjust your picture quality. I really am this handsome. I don't know how this is going to look once I edit it. I have the camera a little further distance away so as to not intimidate the man watching with my handsome looks, to not tease the women with my handsome looks. It is what it is, man. This is gonna be a random episode, man. I was supposed to film this. It's today's Monday night. I said I was gonna film it Sunday night. It's Monday night. Depression setting in with the Cowboys. Looks like they might not win the Super Bowl after all. I don't know, man. You never know. The Longhorns are struggling with Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers has Tiger Woods syndrome. That's what's going on right now with Quinn Ewers. Tiger Woods syndrome. Nothing happened to Tiger Woods physically. All those excuses about his back, this and that. When he fell off, he got busted, man. He got busted. It affected him mentally. You can tell. Everyone thought he was this perfect man. He come out in the cover of magazines with his wife and kid and the dog licking his face and all that crap. And then he got busted being a sex addict and a cheater. And all of a sudden he couldn't win anymore. He couldn't win events anymore. To me, that's what's going on with Ewers. Ewers got injured. We got a small sample size, 2-3 games, whatever Arch Manning played. We got a small sample size of how good we saw how good Arch Manning could be in a real game, not just in the orange and white scrimmage or whatever in practice. We saw firsthand, real time, how good Arch Manning is. I think that's affecting Quinn Ewers mentally, like the way Tiger Woods is affected mentally. Just my opinion. Maybe not, but I think that's what's going on with Quinn Ewers. Either way, he needs to be benched. He needs to be benched, man, before you end up losing another game and you get moved out of the playoff picture, man. Forget about friendships, man. Forget about hurt feelings. Do the right thing. Give Arch Manning his shot. You got to respect that kid, man. He stayed at Texas knowing he wasn't going to be the starter these 2 years. Or 2 years wasted of his career. That kid could have clearly been starting since he was a freshman. But anyway, I don't know. Let me go into those rants because this is a random episode, like I said. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm not going to get into I decided to not film all year. I don't know why. I'm going to start doing this every week from now on. So y'all participate. Whenever I post and I'm going to make an episode, I ask you guys to participate in the comments. Let me know if you want anything talked about. You don't really, some of you make comments, but you don't really, not much. So that's why I'm making these episodes just random, talking about random stuff. I want to bring a couple of the segments back I had from the episodes last year. We'll start off positive. We'll start off positive with shoutouts. Just quick shoutouts to some of the better performers last week that I saw online. So we'll do shoutouts first. Shoutout segment back. Let it all out. Dylan Everett of Kingsville. I played RGC Gruya. I don't know how to pronounce that, man. RGC Rio Grande City Gruya. I don't know how to pronounce it. He had 375 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, 65 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. You knew that kid was gonna be good since last year. What is he? Man, I think he's a senior already, man. He's been starting since he was like a sophomore. He's been good for a few years, man. So you knew he's had some good games. I got his season stats after 9 games. He has over 2,000 yards passing, over 700 yards rushing, 31 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. So shout out to Dylan Everett of Kingsville and the turnaround that's going on there in Kingsville. I love it. I'm born in Kingsville. So I have love for Kingsville. I'd have to say it's my second favorite team just because I was born there. My cousins think I hate Kingsville because they're from Kingsville. I don't hate Kingsville, man. That's why I love Kingsville, because I was born there because my cousins are from there. Exact opposite of what they think. Shout out to Redooms, the GP, in the battle of the bridge against Carroll. 389 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. Redooms of GP. Shout out to GP. Started off 0-4. I think they've won 4. Did they win now 4 or 5 in a row? They're 4-4, 5-4 after a 0-4 start. I think I remember the last time GP started 0-4 was in 1989, Bruce Bush's first season there. And they ended up going to the semifinals. I remember he was getting a lot of crap first, starting off 0-4. They ended up going to the semifinals, man. They finished 10-5 that season. They went 5 rounds deep. It's crazy. I don't think just GP teams going to do that this year, but you never know. There's something for GP fans to think about. Started 0-4 in 1989, and you end up going to the semifinals. Bruce Bush's first year there at GP. So shout out to him. Shout out to the receiver of GP. Brandon Coates had 213 receiving yards on 12 catches for 2 touchdowns. Versus Carroll. Shout out to Nicholas Lueda of San Diego. Had 24 carries for 224 yards and 2 touchdowns versus Bishop. I think Bishop was in the Caller Times poll ranked ahead of San Diego. San Diego ended up beat the hell out of them, 40-something to 14 or something like that. So shout out to Nicholas Lueda of San Diego. I think he was the only over 200-yard rusher. That's why the only shout out I'm giving to him. There was a couple of other with 160 yards, yada yada, but Chris Vasquez of Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial, shout out to him. I think he's the only defensive player I have on here. I think he had 10 tackles and 2 interceptions versus PSJ Memorial. 10 tackles and 2 interceptions, and one of them was returned for a touchdown. So I don't know, when someone has 2 interceptions and then one's returned for a touchdown, you got to mention them. Shout out to him. So shout out to him, Chris Vasquez of Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial. Shout out to Agua Dulce as a team, 7-0. We were told about them by some people, Agua Dulce fans on the page a few years ago. You'll watch out for this group when they're seniors. I don't even think they're seniors yet either. I think they're just juniors. Someone correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. The group of Agua Dulce kids, it's been good for a few years. 7-0, beating the hell out of everybody. I think the only game that they didn't beat the hell out of their opponent was the very first game of the season. They beat Kennedy by 1 or 2 points. But since then, they've blown everybody out. They play Bembolt this week. They're battled back in the same division, 2A, D2. They play rival Bembolt. Man, those have been rivalries going back decades, ever since I was playing in the 80s and 90s. I think they play this Friday in Bembolt. Bembolt hooked me up with a sideline pass again. I'd like to go film that game. If you're watching this, coaches from Bembolt, I did the game there last year, I think, and the year before. I've done a couple of Bembolt games over the years. But yeah, sorry for sending shout-outs to Agua Dulce and not Bembolt while I'm asking Bembolt for a sideline pass. But it is what it is. They're having a great season, man. So shout out to Agua Dulce, 7-0, man. The only problem for Agua Dulce, round 1. That's why it's hard for 2A and 3A programs around here, other than Refugio, to get far in the playoffs. Like round 1, you're already playing legit teams in the playoffs, man. Agua Dulce's first round opponent will be that district that has Shiner, Falls City, Yorktown. Shiner's not 2A D1 anymore with Refugio. They're down there. Those are probably going to be the top 3 teams. If Valdosta finishes first, which they should, they'll get the 4th place team, which would probably be someone like Louise, which is, even though that's a beast district, Louise is beatable. But that, man, you never know though, man. That's a tough district, man. So Valdosta's present for having a great season is they get that beast district round 1. So that's the only bad thing. Shout out to Sinton. Sinton made like this. Shout out to Sinton, man, for going undefeated so far. I think they're 7-0, 8-0, whatever they are. But they put together that non-district schedule. It's probably one of the best that's ever been put together for a South Texas team. So shout out to Sinton for going undefeated during that run. Shout out to Coach Troutman from Sinton for having the balls to put that schedule together. You need more coaches around here like that. Shout out to Coach Troutman for having the huge balls to put that schedule together. Who was it? Beeville, Port Lavaca, Alice, GP, Miller, Calallen, and then Cuero to start off the district with. Then Ingleside, rival, they're undefeated playing all those teams. So shout out to Coach Troutman for having the balls to put that schedule together. I haven't done an episode since the beginning of the season, so shout out to Coach Evans for having the balls to put DeSoto on the schedule, regardless of the criticism and the haters, all the mouthing off they do. It don't matter, man. Some coaches know what they're doing. They do it the right way. Coach Evans is doing things the right way there, knowing how to schedule non-district. Coach Troutman from Sinton, shout out to both of you guys for having the huge balls to put badass teams on your non-district schedule, because you guys get it, and that's why you're going to make deep runs in the playoffs. So those are the shout-outs for today. I'm going to start doing, like I said, it took a long time to get this first episode out, but I'm going to start doing this every week. So you all let me know in comment sections, man, if there's stuff I'm leaving out, or don't complain when I leave out your team or players that you think should be mentioned. You know, I only have so much time to put stuff together. I got a job. I just do this as a hobby. I'd like to get more organized, but like I said, it's just I do what I can when I can. So your all's help, commenting, sending me messages if you want something messaged, talked about or ranted about or whatever, something you want. It's our secret. Nobody has to know you messaged me. I'm not telling anybody anything. But yeah, that's it for the shout out segment. All right, man, we're going to move on from the shout outs to another segment we used to have called Talk That Poop. It's just where I take comments, man, that are just kind of nonsense comments that have happened throughout the week or the season, whatever. I'll just keep it to a post I made the other day on the Freer Refugio game where Refugio beat Freer 95-0. So we'll take comments from that. Talk That Poop segment. Here we go with Talk That Poop.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
All right, the first negative, uninformed comment was from Alma Martinez. I'm sorry to call you out, but it's not like everyone can see your comment. She says there's no need to humiliate any team like that. I think it's shameful and a lack of class when a coach allows such a smackdown. No respect for those programs or coaches. I don't care if those athletes didn't put the time in. No one knows whether they did or not. Any coach that allows that is disgusting. It's just plain shameful. Man, that's a lot of ugly words. Humiliate, disgusting, shameful. She says, that's my opinion. I won't be discussing it any further, but she does comment a bunch more on it. For starts, I didn't go to the game, but what people who were at the game were saying is there was a running clock going on since the second quarter. I thought it didn't even start to the second half. Someone said since sometime in the second quarter, because the game was already like 69-0 in the second quarter. Someone said there was already a running clock going, and then obviously you put backups in, but when you're a small program, a 2A program, you only have so many kids on varsity, man. You can only play so many backups. But from what I understand, the Refugio played backups. They had a running clock the second half. It's not... So I'm just keep it to your comments for this segment, because when I do my rant segment, is when I'm going to go more into the whole Refugio, my opinions on the Refugio Freer thing. So that was the okay, and then Jesse Boss came back at me with, because in my original post I said some teams, don't be mad at the programs that, look, let me read it the way I wrote it. I said, don't be mad at the team and staff that gives your program a 95-0 beatdown. Be mad at your own team and staff for not putting in the extra work that prevents those 95-0 beatdowns. So the next comment to get to was this Jesse Bias guy. He at me with extra work doesn't mean you have the talent to compete against a superior team. Your comment on being mad at team or coaches for not putting extra work means nothing. 100% effort means nothing if the other team's 100% is occurring with far superior players. Why does the other team have far superior players? It's not to the look, man. You're both two-way programs, man. And he came at me with another example of DeSoto. Like if you line up DeSoto and because I said they're the same. They're all kids that are the same age. And he came at me with another comment about DeSoto. If you put Refugio and DeSoto together, you're lining up 11 players. Why isn't that a fair game? You're comparing 6A to 2A. This is ridiculous, man. There's more to choose from. But keeping with that comment, man, about don't be mad at the team. Sometimes the other team just but not 95-0 better. Sometimes the other team is better. 42-0, 49-0, 56-0. You know, I can live with stuff like that. Sometimes that happens, man. But 69-0 already in the second quarter. That's not. That doesn't have to happen. That's your Refugio is not DeSoto. They're Refugio. They're awesome for a two-way program. There's no doubt. But nobody should be losing to anybody. It's in your same classification, 95-0, with a running clock the entire second half. It just shouldn't be happening, man. That's just my opinion. Faye Cox responded. This one was not one of the dumb comments. This is one of the good comments. Faye Cox responded. They do put in the extra work. I think she's the wife of the coach that took over at Refugio. The coaches are up there 7 days a week and on weekends from sun up and sundown. It's just a different culture at Refugio, man. I get the demographic stuff. I'm gonna rant about that later. I'm tired of that stuff. It's nonsense. And Jesse Bice goes at me with one more comment. Says, my whole point is you can't assume a team didn't want to win or their culture isn't about winning. Yes, you can. If a team doesn't win a lot, their culture is not about winning. If we has a winning culture, some teams don't, some teams do. It matters, man. It affects kids and how they go into seasons and the off seasons. And if you think that Refugio kids don't put in that extra work, knowing they've got a shot at winning state every year, that's got to be the mindset to everybody, man. I don't care who your program is. I don't care if you're Progreso. I don't care if you're Divera. I don't care who your program is, man. Your mindset, your coaches got to put in the mindset that you're playing for state, or you're working your way to build a state championship type program. I understand certain programs like Freer doesn't have certain athletes like Refugio does. Anyway, that's going to be later on in my rant, man. I'll talk about that some more. I just wanted to get a few of the talk that poop comments thrown in here. Like I said, man, this is last second. I'll be more organized with the next episode so I can get more stuff in, more comments in, more shout-outs. Maybe that you guys see I'm going to be putting these out every week. You'll start getting more involved, hopefully. So I just wanted to mention those couple of comments here in that Talk That Poop segment. Talk that poop. Keep talking that poop. I'll keep putting these comments on here and making you famous. Famous for the wrong things, but it's all in good fun, man. Nobody get butthurt. Talk that poop. All right, before we get into the next segment, man, is the Chingas segment. I'm going to bring back the Chingas segment. This is to remind everybody, this is a perfect time before the Chingas segment to remind people that this is all, look, man, I've said since the beginning, since I started doing this, man, I'm going to always be honest. I'm always going to keep things honest here. If you think coaches aren't being honest with your kids, behind closed doors, you forgot what it's like, man, to grow up in the 80s. The coaches were always honest with us, man. That's just the way it always was, man. No one was worried about hurting anyone's feelings. Sometimes you got to hear the honest truth, man. I don't know, man. There's other kids have enough people hitting them, patting them on the back, saying "good game" when they lose 54-0. You don't. I don't do that. If you lose 54-0, I call it out. If you lose 95-0, I call it out. There's no well, you tried or you did. You obviously didn't try in the offseason when it counted. But yeah, so we're gonna come back with a Chinga segment. I gotta turn this off and on again. All right, before we get into the Chinga segment, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Triage Insurance. Look them up. They cared enough to sponsor, man. The only sponsor I've had here in all these years. Some of y'all need to step it up, man. Like I said, when you sponsor the page, you're not agreeing with my comments or my point of views. You're just sponsoring kids. You're sponsoring the opportunity to keep this page open, man, and so I can continue to highlight kids, man. That's what I mostly do here. Every once in a while, I make these episodes where I call stuff out, or I'll make a post where I call stuff out. That's what I'm always going to do here. So if you don't like that, then maybe, okay, don't sponsor. But like I said, you ain't agreeing with anything I say. Just if you become a sponsor of the page, you're just sponsoring the kids and the programs and the communities. You get to keep this running. Eventually, I'm going to stop. Not fun doing stuff for free. So eventually I will stop, man. So begin sponsors, it's good motivation to not stop. So any of you all want to sponsor, get your name out there. Like I said, you don't have to like me. You don't have to like what I do. Do it for the kids. My other sponsor here, Banquet TV Dinners, pot pies, chicken pot pies. Of course, they're not a sponsor. I'm just giving you an example of how you can be featured here on these episodes, man, if you sponsor the page. But so, hook me up. All right, getting back with our next segment, we're bringing back the Chingas. Here we are with Chingas.
Who that? Who there?
This is an obvious one. The Chinga that Refugio gave to Freer, 95-0. What the hell, Freer? What the hell? Look, there's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for that, man. I ain't trying to humiliate anybody, but sometimes you need to be, well, maybe I am. You need to be humiliated to. And when I say things like this, or I make posts like this, negative posts like this, humiliating posts like this, it's not because I'm an asshole. Like, I hope a coach screenshots things I say or screen records something I say on a video and uses it as bulletin board material. Good. If my negative remarks even affect one kid, good. You see on the bulletin board this post I made the other day of Refugio and Freer. You see it on the Freer bulletin board to motivate the kids. Why not? You hear that, Freer coaches? Screenshot it, put it on your bulletin boards. Bulletin board material for them Freer kids for the off season for next year. This year's lost. I don't know what it is, man. I haven't paid attention. 95-0, that's crazy, man. And I get a lot of the comments on this is the whole demographic stuff. I'm tired of that demographics crap. You can be talented, you can be strong, you can be fast, no matter what your skin color is, what part of the state you're from. I get some people have the advantage if you get this person and that person and they work just as hard as each other, but this one's the better genes. I get it. It doesn't mean there's still no excuse for 95-0 beatdowns. When you look at kids on sidelines, I'm not just talking about Freer in this one, but I've walked a lot of sidelines where you just see so many kids around here in South Texas that look like they've never hit the weight room. Or they just do what they're asked to do and they don't do that extra. It matters, man. Look at that kid, that running back, Figueroa from Tolosa Midway, man. He's not huge. He's a 5'8", 5'7", 5'8", around there. But you can see that he put in the work in the weight room, and that's why he's not your typical small, short runner. He runs over people because of the extra work he does in the weight room. He runs through people, runs around people. He's a talented kid because he obviously put in extra work, man. There's no demographic advantage there. I mean, that kid just decided I'm going to put in extra work so I can be the best running back I can be, so I can run over people, so I can run around people, run through people, run past people. Some kids just take that extra step, man. And then we have the kids around here in South Texas that they're just about, it's my year. It's my year. Everyone thinks it's their year. That's like, so you're not gonna, it's my senior year, I'm gonna win because it's my senior year. Every team has seniors, every team thinks it's their year. Every team says prayer before the game. It doesn't mean you're gonna win. Every team does it, every team's praying, every team, like all these things that you think are giving you an advantage are not giving you an advantage. Because the things you're doing in your locker rooms, it's just every other team's doing them also. Every other team has the kids that pray, the kids that light candles, the kids that think it's their year, it's my senior year, I'm gonna win. I want it better than the other guy. Every team has those players, man. So at the end of the day, it comes down to talent. Talent, strength, speed, all that stuff, man. Are you putting in extra work in the weight room or on the track too, man? I don't know, man. I wouldn't do these rants about being negative and hating this whole demographics argument if I didn't see so many kids on our sidelines in South Texas looking like they don't hit the weight room. And that's cool if you don't want to, man. It's I had my chance 30 years ago to do what I was going to do or not do, and this is your chance. I get it. You don't want to put in that extra work, that's fine, but I'm not going to stop calling it out. Because I wish kids around here would put in more work in the weight room and on the track. It shows, man. It shows. You look at those programs that you see playing for state championships on TV every season, or somewhere in the Final Four area of the playoffs, and look at their sidelines, man. There's no little skinny kids on any of their sidelines, man. The kids that are short are still stocky. Put in that extra work in the weight room. You don't have to be from a certain part of the state, born here, born there, a certain skin color. If you want it, you're going to do it. If you don't care, then continue to get disappointed in the playoffs, man, when you run into a bigger, faster, stronger team, man. That's the other thing. Anyway, so that's the whole Chingas. I wanted to talk about the thing with Refugio and Freer. It doesn't have to be that way. It don't have to be that way, man. Just choices were made. Choices are made by Refugio's kids put in extra work. Choices are made by other programs and not put in the same kind of work, man. I'm not saying no, but kids from Freer aren't putting in the work. But so y'all don't misquote me or come after me in the comments. Well, yeah, you can come after me in the comments. That helps grow the page. Come after me in the comments. But just saying you're not putting in the same amount of work as other programs. I did a Freer game, was it last year, the year before? So there's talented kids there. Freer has talented kids. Where were they? They played, I think when they played our dudes there, they played Bembo. I did a Freer game last year, I just remember that. I know I did, or it might have been JP2. I don't remember who they played. I know I did a Freer game. Bembo, I think. Either way, I'll put a video up here somewhere. So there'll probably be a video here on the screen somewhere also. I just don't, so you'll have some I'm going to feature my videos and the kids that I make videos of somewhere here on the screen, so I'll make me a little smaller and have another part of the screen you're watching local kids that I filmed. So it's like I said, man, it's that 95, that's the whole thing for the Chinga segment. That's it. I get off that because I want to get into my rants, which still has a little bit more about this, man. I just wanted to mention that one Chinga. You don't want to come out in the Chinga segments. Don't lose 95-0. There was a lot more Chingas than that, man. But like I said, it's just the last second thing. I'll be a little more organized next week. There's going to be a lot more Chingas posted next week. A lot more shout-outs. Y'all get involved. But that's it for the Chingas segment. Refugio 95, Freer 0. All right, now I'll bring back the last segment for this episode. There is another one that I did last year called Area Leaders, where I talked about all the area leaders. I'm not going to do that yet. I'll do that next week. So I'll gather all the information of all the area leaders, the rushing, the receiving, passing, yada yada. The last segment I want to do for this episode is the STXB Rants.
Hey everyone! Come and see how good I look! I look good. I mean, really good.
So the STXB Rants is it's not negative just because it sounds rants. Well, it's mostly negative. But I'm talking about positive stuff also. Starting with... No, we're going to get negative first. When I do the demographic stuff, every episode I talk about demographics. I'm always going to do it. It has some of my black followers saying I'm racist because it's just, I don't care, man. You're going to think what you want to think. I know what I am and what I'm not. This is what it is, man. But it's the demographics argument. I hate it. I hate it. Up until recently... I mean, if everything is about, think about it this way, man. If everything is about demographics, individual talent, yada, 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 DeSoto would have like 30 state championships by now. Duncanville would have 30 state championships by now. They only recently started winning state championships a few years ago. You look at the history of state championships, man, and it was almost always like mostly white teams winning state championships. Why? Because everything's not about individual talent is my point, man. If you want to take stuff out of context and say this guy race this, race that, I don't care, man. I don't bother with you people anymore that play those race cards on my page. I know what I'm saying and the point I'm making. You want to take stuff out of context, go ahead. But I get tired of that argument, man. This thing with and I use Refugio for the Freer Refugio game. You have people saying also demographics and this and that. It's stop, man. Stop. What does this look like? What does this team picture look like? Does it look more like a Refugio's team picture, or does it look more like Freer's team picture? It looks almost exactly like Freer's team picture, doesn't it? The makeup of this roster. This is Ganado. They beat the shit out of Refugio last year in the playoffs. Why? But demographics. That's why I hate that argument, man. It's a ridiculous argument. This roster looks a lot like Freer's roster. They beat the hell out of Refugio in the playoffs last year. Why? And if it's all about demographics, they should have gotten their butt whooped. But they didn't. Because not everything is about individual talent either, man. You have team talent, you have individual talent. Look at the Cowboys. Cowboys are fucking horrible. All that individual talent they have, but it's not a team. It's not a team. There's a lot of teams like that, man. That happens, man. The main thing is chemistry. Does your team have chemistry? If you don't have any chemistry, man, I don't care how much individual talent you have, man. It took DeSoto and Duncanville getting the right coaches there. Getting the right coaches to get those programs where they had not just individual talent, but chemistry, and then they start winning state titles. That's what it takes, man. They got the right coaches there. They got the chemistry down there now, and now they're winning state titles every year. Galena Park North Shore, too. All that talent, but it is what it is, man. It's chemistry to me is the main thing. I mean, talent, obviously, but if you have the talent, you still need the chemistry, man. You got to find that common ground where you get a little bit of both. Or a lot of both. Those teams that win state titles, they have a lot of both, man. You got to put in the extra work around here, man. All you young people probably not watching this, don't care about an old guy talking about back in the day, this and that. I get it. But if you are watching, those of you that do pay attention, man, it's that extra work that you think you're putting in, it's not as extra as that kid from up north that plays for Aledo or Carthage or DeSoto or Duncanville or they're not. I'm actually defending those kids, is what I'm doing. For you people that take things out of context, I'm saying it's disrespectful to assume they're born talented. No, they're not born talented. They're working their ass off to get where they get, man, to get what they want. You don't put in that extra work, man. Continue to be disappointed in the playoffs, man. It's nice to go 2, 3, 4 rounds, man, but it'd be nicer to win state championships around here again. Edna's the other team that I didn't mention earlier because they're not really necessarily, they're not Colts band, but they're in a local district. Edna also is hammering people. I think they're 8-0. They're beating the hell out of everybody. Refugio played them close, man. So with respect to Refugio, even though they have that loss, Refugio only lost to Edna, I think 35-28. To put that in perspective, Edna beat Bay City, 4AD1 Bay City, 35-7. That's Bay City's only loss in the season. Bay City, I think, is ranked in the top 5 in the state in 4AD1. Edna beat the hell out of them, 35-7. Only beat Refugio 35-28. So Refugio's probably going to make another state title run with this team. Edna, too, man. That's legit, man. You beat the top 5 4AD1 program 35-7. And Edna's 3AD1 themselves. Edna's have a legit shot at winning state also. So like I said, these rants would not always be negative. Whatever pops in my head. So hats off to Edna. I should have mentioned them earlier in the shoutouts. I didn't, but forgot about them. But here you go. Beat the hell out of Goliath the other day, who was also a top 10 team in 3AD1. They beat the hell out of Goliath. But respect to Goliath, they're having a good season. Also Goliath, Ganado, all them teams that aren't necessarily from around here. Poth, I know there's a guy that follows us from Poth. I don't put them on my top 10 because they don't. At least with the teams like Edna, they play in districts. They either play in district with local teams or they schedule local teams for non-district, whatever. Most of them are in districts with local teams, so I'll include them in the top 10 stuff I do. But yeah, man, I get tired about demographic stuff, man. It's just hard work doesn't care what skin color you are or what part of the state you were born in, man. You can still put in that extra work to be better than you are, man. There's no excuse for 95-0 games. Not when you're playing within the same classification. I get that the FU has all that talent, but then so do what you got to do at your program to get better talent, man. To be stronger, be faster. Like I've always said, you can't do anything about your height. Can't do anything about your height. If you're short, you're short. That doesn't mean you have to be weak, and it doesn't mean you have to be slow. If you're weak and slow, that's your choice. Weaker and slower than the other guy, that's your choice. You make a choice. Be better. It is what it is, man. What else I would feel like ranting about? It's the usual suspects this year again, man. It's here we are, week 8, week 9. Only one. Some teams have one game left because they haven't had their bye. Most teams have 2 games left still. They've already had their bye. Usual suspects. Flower Bluff's undefeated. Hats off to Flower Bluff, but you haven't played anybody. That's the other thing I want to rant about, man. You haven't. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Flower Bluff's usually most seasons between them, Miller has the most talented, any team south of San Antonio. Why do you schedule cream puffs for your non-district? Here we are, 3 days away from November 1st. Flower Bluff plays PSJ North, also undefeated. That's going to be the first good opponent Flower Bluff plays all season. They've blown everybody out. But credit to them. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They're blowing out the teams they're supposed to blow out. Credit to Flower Bluff. But you're not preparing your program for adversity by scheduling cream puffs, man. I don't get it, man. And I know a lot of Flower Bluff's fans on other forums are like, well, you don't know what happened, or maybe they thought this was going to be their schedule. No, that's an excuse for 3, 4, 5 non-district games when stuff kind of gets messed up. If you get thrown in the district with more teams than you expected, the first 2 district games, that's who you wanted. If those are who you have on your schedule, that's how you want it. There was no mix-ups or I thought we were only going to be in a 5-team district and we ended up in a 9-team district or whatever. The first 2 games, those don't get affected by that. That's like maybe if you had 3, 4, 5 non-district games scheduled, that gets affected. Not the first 2 games. You chose Mexico and Cream Puff, San Antonio Cream Puff. That's your choice, man. It's just not helping anybody. It's not help your win-loss stats on your resume. But it's not helping your team. That's not helping your team prepare for someone like PSJ North they're going to face now, or when they play CC Veterans Memorial. So I don't get stuff like that, man. I'm sure Flower Bluff fans don't want to hear that. They're mad at me, whatever. I don't care. It's just the facts. Facts need to be spoken. Schedule better, coaches. Schedule like Coach Troutman did at Sinton. That makes your team better. Playing Cream Puff High doesn't make your team better. I'd rather take some L's, man. I'd rather take a few L's than to play Cream Puff High to win 56. Some people say, well, if you lose this game 42-0, how does that help your team? More than if you win a game 56-0. How's that helping your team? How's playing a team that bad helping your team? And you know that they're going to be bad, and you schedule them. I don't get it, man. I'll never understand stuff like that. So I'll make excuses for if your 3rd, 4th, or 5th non-district game is a cream puff. It becomes a little harder to schedule at that point. But your first 2 non-district games are cream puffs. There's no excuses for that when you're as good as Flower Bluff is. But like I said, at least still credit to them because they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're blowing everybody out. But it's the usual suspects around here again that are probably going to make the state runs, man. Sinton, Refugio, Flower Bluff, Miller. I don't care. Adrian has to get mad. I don't know if Adrian watches these, man, but Miller still got their shot, man. Miller still has a shot. Miller, Flower Bluff, Sinton, Refugio, Edna. We talk about Edna around here. Edna's definitely got a legit shot at winning state championships. There's a lot of programs around here that can make some noise in the playoffs, man. My Coyotes have a legit shot at winning the national championship, the Max Preps national championship. You all know I'm going to always mention Alice. It's where I'm from. It's where I played. I'm always going to do it. It started off really, really good. Blew out Carroll, the same Carroll team that manhandled Cal Allen, and then Alice turned around and got. Alice has had injuries. I hate to. Believe it or not, I hate talking about injuries because when other people talk about injuries to their teams, I don't want to hear it. But when it's happening to your team, you know what's happening because you see these kids missing. Alice had a lot of injuries, and then they're a young team to begin with, so they just couldn't really deal with a lot of injuries. So they had a bad little run there of a couple of, I think they lost 3 in a row. That's Allen, GP, Sinton. They started losing kids, man. You put that on top of being young, and then they had that party drama that was going on at that time. Where it was, I don't know. I mean, it is what it is, but they've won like 5 in a row in Alice, so hats off to my Coyotes. We're back where we need to be. So like I said, too, it's a young team, so watch out for Alice next year also. I'm always going to mention them. Sorry, haters. But so, yeah, it's been another season of, like I said, usual suspects, man, starting to rise to the top here towards the end of the season. Carroll was surprising everybody for a while. That Carroll victory over Cal Allen, man. It ended up being a close score at the end, but that was a 24-0 game at halftime. That's crazy. In Cal Allen's defense, if I'm going to talk about Alice injuries, Cal Allen did not have their quarterback for that game. Probably would have won the game, but not probably. If you only lost by a few points, if you would have had your starting quarterback that game, you probably win by multiple touchdowns. It was still surprising to see 24-0 at halftime, Carroll up on Cal Allen. That's the surprise of the year. But like I said, Cal Allen didn't have their quarterback, so I'll make that excuse for Cal Allen. What else we got to talk about? Quinn Ewers, Texas. I already did a little bit of that earlier. I'm not going to get into that again. So that's it for the rants, man. This is going to be a short episode. Like I said, I just decided last second to do it. Feel like turning on the mic and talking about stuff. Next episode will be a little longer, a little more in depth, a little more organized. Especially if you guys get involved. Let me know in the comments. Let me know through private message if you don't want no one to know that you want to send a shout out to someone or you want this kid mentioned or whatever. That reminds me, I gotta share some fans from Georgia West sent me video of one of their players scoring a couple of touchdowns, and I keep forgetting to download them to my phone so I could share them. I'll probably share them here in the video somewhere. But that's what I want. And so that's my fault for not sharing them when they send them to me, because that's actually what I want. I want you guys to send me phone stuff. If you guys have stuff that you record on your phone, send it to me. Send it to me and I'll share it on the page. I'll stick a graphic on it with the kid's name, the team's name, just something to make it look a little nicer. But don't do it for, a lot of you, like I know, this is the way I am, the way I'm honest. I'm always gonna be honest. Some of you don't like me. You think you're helping out the page when you do stuff like that. You're not. It's just, don't think of it that way. You're helping out these players and these programs get noticed. So yeah, man, that's about it. It's getting late. I'm filming this late. I'm hungry. That's about it for this episode. I know once I stop recording, I'm going to remember something that I wanted to talk about and I didn't talk about. Too bad. That's it. But thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, go follow me on YouTube, Facebook, X, Twitter, whatever, Instagram, TikTok. Follow me on all the different socials. I appreciate those of you that are still here after all these years. Hit the like buttons, hit the share buttons. Man, I had videos from 5 years ago that were getting 140, 200 shares. Videos weren't even that good. Now that videos are better, they're getting like 10 shares, and 5 of those are me sharing them to groups. So you guys help me out, man. When I put out a video, don't just think of it as helping me out, helping me grow. You're helping the kid feature on the video, or the team feature on the video get seen. So do it. Just do it for South Texas, man. People like me, AC Williams is photography, South Texas Football Unlimited. We're giving you guys something to feature our local programs and kids, and you guys help us out, man. Help us out by sharing our stuff, commenting, letting people know we exist. But yeah, so thank you guys for following, and I'll see you next week.